Ethiopia, Peace and Conflict. An interactive visual documentary exploring why peace accords in the Horn of Africa are triggering new crises. The war isn't over. A promise of peace, a legacy of war. In April 2018, Abiy Ahmed came to power as Prime Minister of Ethiopia, promising democratic reforms. He struck peace agreements with Eritrean leaders and local insurgents, earning the Nobel Peace Prize in 2019. But his reputation as a peacemaker was short-lived. By 2020, Ethiopia plunged into a brutal two-year war in the Tigray region, killing hundreds of thousands. Though the Pretoria Agreement halted major fighting, Tigray remains combustible, and insurgencies are flaring in multiple other states. Unfinished business. The centralization conflict. Much of the instability stems from Ethiopia's ethno-federal system, created in the 1990s. This system partitioned the country into ethnic territorial states with autonomy and a right to secession. While democratic on paper, the system was dominated by the Tigray People's Liberation Front, leading to deep resentment. Prime Minister Abiy sought to centralize authority and replace the old ethnic coalition with his Prosperity Party. However, this centralized vision provoked fierce resistance, encouraging political elites to leverage ethnic mobilization, which quickly triggered armed conflicts. Internal fissures. Triple crises, Tigray, Amhara and Oromia. Today, Ethiopia faces critical internal fissures. In Tigray, slow peace implementation has triggered splits within the TPLF, resulting in clashes with a new pro-government breakaway faction. In neighboring Amhara, FANO militias who fought alongside federal forces in the Tigray War have turned against Abiy. Sidelined in the peace talks, Amhara FANO militias now claim to control 80% of the state. Meanwhile, in Oromia, the Oromo Liberation Army has expanded its armed rebellion, fighting for Oromo self-determination and rejecting disarmament. Tough neighborhood. Tough neighborhood and Nile rivalries. Ethiopia's internal strife is worsened by dangerous disputes with its neighbors. Prime Minister Abiy's demand for sea access has alarmed Eritrea, which fears a threat to its sovereignty near the Red Sea. Meanwhile, Egypt sees the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam on the Nile as an existential threat to its fresh water. Cairo has warned it will defend its water interests by all permitted measures. These volatile diplomatic standoffs threaten to boil over, as Eritrea and Egypt could fund internal insurgent groups inside Ethiopia as proxy forces. Back from the brink? Back from the brink, rebuilding trust. Continued warfare is not inevitable. The Ethiopian government can still pull the country back from the brink, but this requires true commitment to reform. First, the federal government must execute key Pretoria Peace provisions, including helping displaced people return to rebuild lost trust. Second, they must widen negotiations to include all insurgent factions. Regionally, Abiy must tone down aggressive rhetoric, bring in third-party mediators to manage Nile Dam negotiations, and resolve regional friction with Eritrea alongside internal Amharan and Tigrayan forces. Ultimately, long-term stability hinges on restoring democratic faith, allowing barred groups like the TPLF to compete fairly in elections and initiating an earnest public debate regarding the future structure of Ethiopia's governance.